everyone. Without further ado, let's start with the Zaporizhzhia direction. In this region, the Ukrainian forces haven't displayed significant activity recently. There have been minor tactical skirmishes in the Verbove and Novoprokopivka areas, but there was no progress in the front line over the past day, which remains unchanged. However, today we see that to break through into operational spaces, they need to advance another 8 kilometers and 700 meters. This is nearly the same distance they managed to cover during the summer. But according to recent reports, the second and the third line of Russian defense have slightly fewer fortifications and minefields. Therefore, there is a possibility that the advance might be easier. However, realizing this, the Russians continue to deploy everything they can to this region. The number of troops keeps increasing, and new photos indicating that the Russians are still constructing fortifications. They're not wasting time, and as long as the front line remains static, they are fortifying their positions to make it just as difficult to breach the second and third lines of defense as the first. Overall, the situation is getting more complicated with each passing day, and a large-scale offensive hasn't been initiated yet. We'll continue monitoring how events will unfold. However, according to Budanov, the operation to sever the land connection between Russia and occupied Crimea could be completed by the onset of winter. It's reported that Ukraine may have already deployed a limited number of its reserve forces, but Russia appears to be desperate and has activated less formidable reserves, which they didn't plan to use until the end of October. Moreover, videos and photos of German Leopard tanks are already circulating online, indicating that they are gradually being delivered to Ukraine. But before we proceed, I kindly ask you to share this video on social media and watch it through to the end. It greatly helps in promoting my channel. Thank you. In the Vuhledar direction, the situation remains intense. After Russian attack, there have been no offensive actions reported, and even the number of shelling incidents from the Russian side has decreased. Interestingly, if we look at the map of confirmed shelling, it appears that the Ukrainian forces have also reduced their shelling activity in this direction, and there is no significant activity at the moment. Moving to the Kherson direction. The occupiers continue shelling across the entire front line. In response, the Ukrainian forces are striking back at their positions, but they have been unable to stop the shelling. The front line remains unchanged with no reported changes or developments. In the Avdiivka direction, the situation has also stabilized. Notably, there are no offensive actions directed towards Avdiivka itself, and only sporadic shelling incidents are reported. In Mariinka, the battles continue, but the Russian forces haven't achieved any significant successes, and the front line remains unchanged. Now turning our attention, please, to the Bakhmut direction. Despite the positive news about the liberation of Klishchiivka and Andriivka, the occupiers are continuing to deploy additional units and attempting to advance. This is happening even though the front line now runs along the railway tracks. However, there are reports of new developments in the Kurdyumivka area. Battles are ongoing, and the pressure from the Ukrainian forces is forcing the Russian forces to retreat. So this suggests that in the near future Kurdyumivka might also be liberated. So it's evident that the fighting is ongoing, and the Russian command is reluctant to allow their troops to retreat, as with each village liberated on the flanks, the situation in Bakhmut deteriorates for them. Additionally, there are videos circulating on the internet that show the aftermath of the battles in Klishchiivka. Kreminna and Siversk direction, the situation remains relatively stable. There are no reports of offensive actions or counteroffensives by the Ukrainian armed forces in this direction, so something stable. Moving to the Svatovo area, there are intermittent shelling incidents targeting the settlements, but there are no reported offensive actions, and the front line also remains unchanged. Finally, in the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers continue to show minimal activity. There haven't been any significant reports of shelling or attacks in this area recently. In the meantime, Azerbaijan has initiated anti-terrorist operations in Karabakh to restore their constitutional order as stated by the country's Minister of Defense. The statement mentioned the use of precision weaponry to target frontline and deep positions, long-term firing points, combat vehicles, and military assets of the Armenian armed forces. This military action was triggered by the alleged sabotage of a truck for which Armenian military personnel were accused. Currently, an air raid alert is in effect in Stepanakert.
Ժողովուրդ արագացրեք։
In the Karabakh region, secular communication has been disrupted, and in Stepanakert, artillery fire can be heard from all sides. Previously, Azerbaijan had closed its airspace to Armenia, and additionally, the video I mentioned shows the destruction of Armenia's TOR air defense systems near Stepanakert. Drones are flying over the city, so we are waiting and closely monitoring how the situation will continue to develop. Furthermore, I would like to highlight the commendable efforts of our defenders, the soldiers of the 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade. During the assault on the Melitopol direction, 2 Russian officers, a company commander and a platoon leader, along with 4 soldiers, were captured. However, what's noteworthy is the treatment of Ukrainian military personnel toward the Russian prisoners of war.
Как подразделение называется? Подразделение, как называется?
1152 полк.
1152?
Да.
Это что, морская пехота?
Да.
Вы... На, пей, на, пей. Пей, пей.
Реально пейте, все нормально.
Значит, слушай меня, этот самый. Встань, не стой на коленях, стой просто руки. Стой так вот, да, не унижайся. Ну, спокойно, по одному, короче, без глупости, короче. Там идем тоже место, будете там сидеть до вечера, вечером поедете с нами, короче, все. Мы вас свяжем, короче, но никто над вами издеваться не будет, никто вас пытать не будет, никто вас бить не будет.
Один был 300-й,
Делал.
тяжелый.
Делал.
Чуть дальше, там внизу, в лесополке. Уже все, уже 200.
Это сейчас его накрыло или раньше?
Вчера утром,
Бери, 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 бери.
причем наши накрыли.
32-й полк.
Какой?
32-й полк все на морпехе.
Понятно, давайте их также на другой подвал, а ты готовь дальше. Все по схеме. Все, стопэ, стопэ. Залазим в бункер. Старлей, давай.
After that, the focus shifts to the attitude of Russian military personnel toward our prisoners, highlighting the difference. And that's all from me. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.